Boobys Mobile Beverages, named after the iconic blue-footed booby bird. Rare, unique, memorable, just like us. Hi, my name is Nicholas Yuji, and I'm the founder and CEO of Boobys Mobile Beverages, where we serve high-quality, locally sourced coffee, mocktails, and tea with a side of personality. I'm a recent early graduate of Kent State University, and I'm a current MBA student right here at UNC Charlotte. I'm also a former NCAA Division I cross-country and track and field athlete, so I know everything, caffeine and hydration, and of course, I'm a mocktail enthusiast. There is a huge problem that the non-alcoholic beverage industry faces right now. Let me introduce you to Brian Pearson Jr., an educational entrepreneur with over 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. He said Nicholas Yuji, as someone who attended the Rice University Business Plan Pitch Competition, this was his major complaint. Most networking sessions were held in bar-type settings, and finding high-quality, non-alcoholic options was incredibly difficult. Most beverage companies also are generic and uninspired, and customers are constantly craving something new and exciting. And that is where Boobys comes in. We serve high-quality mocktails that matter. Ma'am, you look thirsty, but you don't have to be, because here at Boobys, we serve more than just refreshment. We deliver an experience with cheeky, memorable drink names such as the Morning Woodpecker, the All Mock, No Cock Mocktail, and Squawk Dirty to Me. We are a brand that pops. We are a fully mobile experience, but we are ready to scale into the canned mocktail market. We've only been open for 5 months, and within those past 5 months, we have seen huge strides with Boobys. We have booked 40+ events, including my favorite, the Susan G. Komen Walk for the Cure that we are doing this October. We have also sold more than 3,000 drinks, and we have secured 3 official major partnerships, including Charlotte Pride, the 8th largest Pride festival in the United States with 250,000 people, the Charlotte Turkey Trot right here in Charlotte with 11,000 runners, the largest running race in North Carolina, and this weekend's Queen City Anime Convention, which is the 2nd largest anime con in North Carolina. My favorite quote that we've heard is Boobys cold brew is liquid crack. We love it when people rave about our products in person, but also online. And that brings me to influencer food critic Dakota Wright, who posted Boobys to his 1 million followers across TikTok and Instagram. It was so cool to see. These are just a few of our events that we've booked and scheduled. Just wanted to throw that out there in case anyone wants to take a look. What is next for Boobys? We are planning for canning in 2026 by getting into the canned mocktail market. Our target markets include music and cultural festivals like Coachella and Lollapalooza, where they rely on local vendors for their food and mobile trailers and trucks, but they tend to rely on these national brands for their cans. But we're also looking at national restaurant and bar chains, national grocery chains, local college events and bars, and of course, the sports and wellness event industry. The current market size for the whole entire world is at $12.1 billion. That US market is $4.2 billion. And we are hoping to get 2.25 million, which is 0.05% of the US market by 2035, so 10 years from now. We can do this by scaling up quickly into that canned mocktail market. This is just a brief overview of our canning costs, including production, equipment and operations, staffing and marketing. And that brings the total down to $37,835. And that is why I'm standing here today, because I'm seeking $37,835 to get into that canned mocktail market. Together, we can get Boobies in the hands of everyone, everywhere, at any time. Thank you so much.
Where to begin? I mean, squawk dirty to me this early in the morning may be more powerful than that cup of coffee that I just had. Nick, your presence is commanding and enthusiastic, and it's as fun as the brand you're putting together. That's, you said cheeky. So, I mean, the double entendre, I was a bit concerned was going to be rather limiting for you, even though niche markets, right, are can be definite winners. But I think this event validation, certainly coming on early with that, helped satisfy some of my concerns with where this brand could be otherwise limiting. And having seen the enormous boom in the adult beverage market be met with non-alcoholic drinks, I see the absolute potential here. I would love to know a little bit more with the money you're asking about what kind of production that could yield, where you anticipate producing, if you've thought about distribution. So what happens with that 37K? How far does that take you?
Right, absolutely. That's a great question. If we kind of go to one of the supplemental slides, this is a little bit better in terms of what it takes to produce one can. We have, over the past week, been in contact with 4 different canning facilities, 2 of them right here in Charlotte and 1 of them up in the Boone, Blowing Rock area. The $37,000 will include 4 staff on a 1099, and that's at $1,000 per person to go to college events, local markets to promote our business. But I can definitely run some numbers and send that to you for the entirety of that $37,000. Most canning companies do require you to do a minimum run of around 8,000 to 10,000 cans, which is very limiting as an early stage business. That can be anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000. So in terms of that, we do want to just make sure to cover all of our bases and make sure that the food scientists that we're hiring, the minimum canning run, that is all covered with the investment for sure.
Are you trying to also trademark any of these names? Is there any branding?
Yeah, that's a great question. We filed for trademarks for Boobies 14 months ago, and we just were issued our notice of allowance I think around 4 weeks ago, which was huge. So we are in the process of getting Boobies itself, the all rights reserved, that trademark. It's very expensive for trademarks. I'm not sure if anyone here has dealt with the trademarks. It's very expensive. I think it was around $3,000 just for the Boobies trademark itself. We do want to trademark our All Mock No Cock, that name for sure. But we really want to get into the canning first, so we're trying to scrap in terms of our capital right now, and we don't see that the trademark for the name is necessary right at this stage. Right now, we're trying to scale and bring that up. But once we get some more money under our belts, once we get our cans out there, we would, of course, like to trademark all of our names for our cans, for sure.
I love how scrappy this is, and I think that's a great place to begin. You're testing the 1099 employees, and you're getting to college campuses, which would be my first thought as to where this would fly, as well, and music venues. I'm guessing that Chris and I may have some similar thoughts on the money portion, the raise, and so I'm going to pause so I can share the mic with Chris, and we'll continue.
Absolutely, thank you.
Well, I certainly echo that you have a lot of passion for what you're building. I was also skeptical at a high-level brand, but I think particularly at the micro brand, I think bringing something edgy to non-alcoholic is kind of a good go. My first thought on this was like a couple of corollaries on this, like liquid death is probably one, right? Like, how do I make water cool?
Yeah.
Chubbies, right, is kind of a similar branding kind of story, obviously different category. So I do think that there are these niches that can be carved out. And one of the big misses I think on this pitch is like there is so much trend data on people moving away from alcohol. I think that's just lost here, right? You didn't really get into the fact that younger people are increasingly moving away from alcohol, and I think that's a big miss that you want to kind of bring up in this. Yeah, I think when it comes to the ask, like 37 grand, like you should be asking for either more or none, in my opinion, on there, right? Like at 37 grand, you should either borrow the money from a bank or find some other solution. Or you should be saying like, I need 100 grand because I'm not just going to send these people out for $1,000 one time. We're going to probably have to hit the campuses a little bit more, and I want to have a couple of production runs under my belt so that if we are successful, I don't have to turn around and then ask for another 50 grand, right? So I think when you go out and ask for money, you probably, like I say, if this is very much an MVP, it sounds like you're starting to decide whether canning makes sense economically, whether you can sell it, whether you can distribute it. I would either find a way to make that, to fund the MVP yourself, maybe easier said than done, or I would go and find someone who wants to be a little bit more invested in the company. One of the secrets is you will sell approximately the same amount of your company no matter how much money you ask for in the early days. I think that's something that people don't necessarily recognize. So if you were an investor who's going to take a chance on you right now at a quasi-ideation phase is going to ask for 5 or 10% or something of your company. They're going to ask for that whether you ask for 37.8 from them or 150,000, right? So you might as well ask for 150, right? I know it takes a little longer to get there, but I'll give you some breathing room. I think there's something interesting here. I just think you need to play up all of the trends moving in your favor. I like the branding play. I think you need to bring in some of these other brands that have struck a nerve on kind of like, hey, people thought water was silly. People thought these bathing suits were silly, right? And like kind of lean into that. And I think the final part is if you want to get me interested as an investor, I think I need to see a much bigger picture than what this is painting for me, which is kind of like a little cult brand that, we're going to try to test some of these things. Like help me really visualize what this can become. Those are probably the big things on my end.
Absolutely. Definitely. I think this next slide, I want to touch on that as well. Because Liquid Death is on this next slide as well. There is a company listed on this next slide that is a little more on the raunchy side, so I'll just kind of refer to it as the energy drink company. But Liquid Death, of course, this middle company is a UK-based energy drink company that does 15 million in revenue every year. And of course, Harcos Labs, again, another niche beverage company that does, I think it's worth around $2 to $3 million. So with these companies, they really do target the niche industries with their bold branding. And all of them are very successful $1 million companies. And not that we want to follow any of these footsteps, but they do show that bold branding can be successful, even in the niche industries. And so that's kind of where we want to take Boobys as a brand. We want to cater it more as, obviously, the family-friendly version than that energy drink company in the middle. But we do want to really do that bold branding. We want to target the niches, kind of slip in there and get our market share as well for the mocktails, for sure.
To that point with expanding to the family-friendly, because as you think about some of these events, you may want to experiment with even just socializing some of that family-friendly branding because that can widen the demographic of purchasers. Whereas you may have some parents kind of like, oh, let's try this, take a Liquid Death instead. We're not putting, cock water in your hand. So just saying. So that could expand, maybe do a sample there. Partner with the earlier group and find those parents to do some of that with. But what was going to be really cool is you go do this and then come back with how well it's gone, because this is so early, and this early feedback, this is exciting. You've introduced us to it. We're going to be cheering you on, and I think that you should come back when you have a really substantial raise and you're opening that up with all of the data points and the trademark information, and come back with that really big ask.
For sure. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.